Hello and welcome to another video about the Phase 2 construction of Heaton Lodge Junction. Now, it's quite a special video is this for me today because it's the culmination of many months scratching my head and doing lots of groundwork as to how I can construct or get constructed some massive model cooling towers. Because, come to think about it, in the UK anyway, for those of you that are watching from abroad, the government's got rid of just about, in fact, every coal-fired power station in the UK, which is absolutely crazy in my book. Anyway, we won't go there. But I must be the only person that's actually constructing cooling towers, having said that, in model form. But this model, or these models, are absolutely gigantic. And it's necessary because working in O gauge, I wanted to do everything to scale. And I also wanted to create such a massive wow factor when the public finally get to see all of this layout together, the power station, the concrete factory, and everything else I've got planned. So going back to the cooling towers, it was just really difficult to kind of find a way to have them constructed. I looked at sheet metal steel, which is obviously going to be way too heavy. I looked at even building them in conjunction with Tim Horn from Tim Horn Baseboards, a bit like a boat with plywood strips around a hull, so to speak, but of course circular with them being cooling towers. And I looked at fiberglass, but with fiberglass you need a mold, and obviously you've got to construct the mold, which is very expensive. And finally, I hit upon the eureka moment, which was when I was watching a TV program and I was looking at sculptures. It was all about sculptors. And there's various theatres and various movie sets which use, what is it now? It's not expanded polystyrene, it's high density polystyrene, which is quite hard. And they sculpt, or various people sculpt, sculptures, sets, or whatever for films out of this material. And I thought that's the way forward. So I tracked down a guy in Camberley in Surrey that's working on the Mission Impossible set with Tom Cruise, so I believe, and he kindly agreed to make these huge cooling towers in high density polystyrene. So I've just been and collected them. There's been a lot of hard work gone into them. They come in 3 parts, so they're actually quite mobile. You can lift them around, but once they're stacked together, with the bits at the bottom, which are made out of resin. That's the lattice girder, which you can probably, in fact, there'll be a picture popping up now of the lattice girder at the bottom of cooling towers. And that was quite difficult to make as well. But once it's all done, and once they're all installed with the smoke units at the top, or the fob machine, so to speak, these will look spectacular. So let's, without further ado, let's go and have a look in the van. The doors are opening now. It's just going to jump to that. And I am going to spin round and show you what they look like in bits. And here they are. So they're made out of, as I've just said, high density polystyrene. They're all in bits at the moment, but we're going to construct them today. And then next week, I'm going to work out how to paint them and make them look just like cooling towers. But as I said before, on the floor, they're over 2 meters, 2.3 meters high. Installed on the layout, which is 1 meter high, they're going to be about 3.5 meters high. So they're going to look pretty spectacular. But let's have a closer look at them and put them together and see what we come up with. Okay, so here we have it, 2 cooling towers in sections. And this is the main door that I use to the basement down these stairs here. They're clearly not going to go down there, so we're going to have to walk all the way down the corridor again and get them through a disused lift shaft, which is going to be, yeah, a bit of a mammoth task. But not to worry, we'll get there. So this is the base. Obviously, it's upside down. Rob has kindly covered it in, what is it, just obviously bubble wrap. And the different sections stack up on top of each other. This is the top section, and as you can see, Rob has actually used his, well, I don't know what he uses, it must be a giant hot wire gun or whatever, to scoop out the polystyrene and make a nice indentation for me to fit the fog machine, which is going to sit in there. There's even a hole in the middle there, which is going to take the cable for the fog machine, drop it down to the bottom, and then it's going to come out and get wired up, and you're going to see lots of steam coming out of it. So there we have it. Bottom sections, middle sections, and top sections. And in a minute, I'm going to get off this bubble wrap, put them all together. I'm going to also get a couple of tables, which are the same height as the layout, so you can actually see just how tall they are when they're all put together. So there we have it. I know a lot of people are going to be putting in the comments, so how much did this all cost? Well, actually, the high-density polystyrene, a huge block, which was 3 meters by 2 meters and had to be delivered on a 7.5-ton truck, cost the best part of about £700. And then Rob charged about the same again, to actually carve these. It was getting the concave shape, which was really, really difficult, because although cooling towers look quite simple, they really aren't. There's a 15-degree kind of slant at the bottom, which is there. That's the bottom section again. And there's all sorts of different angles. And I was really keen on him getting it right, but he has got it spot on, and I am really pleased. I'm going to be painting these with you in the next few weeks. We're going to use a concrete acrylic paint. So it's going to be fantastic. But going back to the cost, yeah, it's about 1,500 quid to get all this done, which is probably about the cost of what 2 O-gauge locos with smoke and sound. So actually, to create the impact that I'm looking to do when the general public come and see this massive layout, when it's out and about, hopefully roped onto the back of shopping centres or National Trust properties or anywhere where the public already go, it's going to be pretty spectacular and pretty awe-inspiring, and that is what it's all about. So let's get cracking, unpacking them and trying to get them set up. Do you know what? As I just said, I am absolutely buzzing, because it's times like this when you wonder what the hell you're doing, and things start to come together at last. But yeah, I am so pleased with these. Let's have a closer look. As I've just said, they're made out of high density polystyrene, but what is even better about the polystyrene is, as you can see if I close up on them, you've got all these little indentations, which once painted in acrylic concrete paint, they are going to look fantastic. If we pan down to the bottom, these are made resin printed by the same guy, Rob Bean, the sculptor, the prop maker, that's working on the cast of Mission Impossible, or the set rather of Mission Impossible at the minute. But he's sculpted these, and he's got the shape spot on. I did give him all the dimensions. I even specified what degrees these lattices need to be, which is about 15 degrees. And once everything's assembled, honestly, and painted, I'm just, yeah, I can't get over how pleased I am with these, because they're really going to complement the layout. So this one, obviously on the right, let's call them pepper and salt. Well, salt on the right is just stood on the floor. It's a little bit taller than, what is it? It's quite a lot taller than me, as you'll see in a minute when I move the camera. This one is about the same height as what it's going to be when you guys come and see Heaton Lodge all in its entirety, hopefully in a year's time. Well, it will be in a year's time. And you'll be able to see just how tall they are, because it's sat on on a table, which is about 800 mil. And it's going to be actually on the layout is actually a meter. So they're going to be a little bit taller than this, but you know, I'm so pleased once again with this shape. It is absolutely spot on. And what I am going to do, at the suggestion of a couple of people, is I'm going to have a little 3D printed model of none other than Fred Dibner, who is going to be climbing a ladder all the way up, all the way to the top, and he's going to be on the top of that cooling tower. Just in a bit of a tribute, in a very, very small way to him. He's one of my heroes. I'm sure a lot of you guys have watched his documentaries in the past. And for those of you watching abroad, Fred Dibner is a bit of an English hero. He's from Lancashire in the north of England. And he was a steeplejack in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, I think, just demolishing mill chimneys all around Yorkshire and Lancashire. And he used no safety equipment whatsoever. He simply climbed the ladder, used the dogs, as he said, to make holes in the walls to secure his ladders. And he just used to climb 200, 300, 400 feet high without any sort of safety ropes or anything to guide him. And he's a bit of a hero. And he died, unfortunately, in 2004. Anyway, he is going to be immortalized on top of this cooling tower. So when you guys come and see it, hopefully, as I keep saying, in a year, 15 months' time, you'll see him on the top, or maybe not, as you can probably barely see him in O gauge. He's going to be about 7 millimeters high, so probably thinking about it, you're not. But you'll certainly see his little ladder going up the side. So, yeah, I am so pleased with these. I'm going to put this camera on a tripod, and the reason is I want to show you a little party trick. So here we are, and what a fantastic model this is going to be. I'm just gobsmacked by it. I know my enthusiasm is really showing today, but I'm just so pleased with that, how I know these are going to turn out, because with the masonry paint on there, the concrete paint, and with the concrete obviously painting the lattices at the bottom, and Fred Dibner on a ladder, who is going to be right at the very top, it's going to look absolutely immense. But just let me show you this party trick. Watch this tower, the top of it. There she blows. How good is that? I just hope, do you know what I've just thought? Bloody fire alarm, it's probably going to set the fire alarm off. Never mind. Look at that, eh? It's brilliant. I'm over the moon with it. It's just going to be fantastic when you walk in this enormous marquee and you see what hopefully will be Britain's biggest model railway again. And just have a look at the immense size of these structures. Because when you've got model locomotives and MGR trains and everything else trundling past, I'm just trying to give an impression of scale. That's all this is about, industry and scale. So it's just going to be absolutely superb. I'm like a kid with a new toy, so I've got to press this again. How can you not like that? There she goes. Sod the fire alarm. There we go. Absolutely brilliant. Even if I say so myself, I'm sorry if I'm, it gives a new meaning to the phrase blowing smoke up you know what. But what can I say? So pleased with that. I've got to do it one more time for the camera. Oh, it's warming up, so we can't. I think I'm going to have to rig it so this smoke machine is working kind of at a low output all day long, because it does blast smoke out or fog out at a great rate of knots. And what I don't want, because obviously it's for discos and stuff like that, what I don't want is for it to look like there's too much. So we're just going to have to put it in a box or something with holes in, so the steam or whatever it's meant to be comes out again. Anyway, I've got the green light, so we'll press the button again. There she goes again. Do you know what? I'm probably going to have Ratcliffe Power Station on the phone, hopefully wanting one of the cooling towers back. I'm only kidding, of course, but you know, it's just going to bring back so many memories for people who worked in these places over the years, don't you think? It's, yeah. And again, I'm just so pleased with the shape of these too. And you can see that the one on my left, your right, it's taller than me, but you're never going to see it this size because it's always going to be on the layout, which is a little bit, in fact, the layout is about here. So it's going to stand more or less 4 meters higher. Again, I'm like a kid with a small toy. I just can't tire of watching this. So funny. Well, funny's not the word, but it's just great. Great seeing it all come to life. It really is. But, you know, thanks for all your support, and thanks for watching the videos. And if you'd like to share this, it hopefully will get a lot more people involved in watching how the progression in this year, 2025, comes on. I've got the red lights have run out of smoke. So I'll call it a day with this. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, we're going to be doing a bit of painting of these, because what Rob Bean has said, the guy who made these, is coat it with PVA glue first to kind of preserve it. I've got to really watch the edges because they're really brittle. So I'm going to watch the edges, coat it with PVA, and then we're going to daub on a load of concrete-like paint, masonry paint, to really make it look the part. So, yeah, it should transform it. And, of course, then we're going to have the little ladder up the side and old Fred at the top. So, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it.